But if you look here, see the city of Albany, the shorter one? They have their own source of water. Gilderwood, own source of water.
Right.
Colony, own source of water, okay?
Yeah.
So, you know, if you do have a source, even Troy, look at, here's Troy right here. You know, Troy's charging its residents, what, $3.45? Right now, they're charging, well, I don't know if they were the charges, but they've been charging us $1.80. And they want to raise that substantially, and that's the reason why we're in court. So anyway, this gives you a comparison. So where does it all get us, you know? There's one thing we don't want to happen. You know? When our guys take a pipe valve apart someday, there's no water coming. No, I'm just kidding. This was a construction photo taken during the course of the building of one of the tanks. That's it. Okay.
Thanks, man.
The lights on, and if, at this point, if anybody has any questions for him, we've got a few minutes, 15 minutes. Going to be credit? Hey, I have a question for you. How often in the United States is there a water main break per day?
There's a number for that.
I just saw it on the news when I was working.
I want to say probably 1 every 5 minutes.
How about every 2 hours
Every 2 hours.
in the United States?
Hey, I did have a couple of questions for you.
Sure.
You said there was no meters in the Hampton Manor. Are they divided equally amongst the residents on the overall usage of the area?
They pay a flat rate.
Right, but how is that flat rate determined?
It was determined, God, how many years ago was that? That goes way back. It was probably,
Every single family home pays the same.
I understand that.
yeah. How was it determined? Well,
I'm curious. My question really relates to, I mean, do we know how much water is diverted to Hampton Manor off the thing? Are we taking their overall usage and dividing that by the number of residents?
No, Hampton Manor has its own well.
Oh, it has its own well, okay.
Yeah. It was initially established because they built a pump, they have a tank, their own storage tank, and they have their own costs. And we know what those costs are to run that system per year. It's probably going to go to $130,000 a year, I think. And that's where the establishment of the flat rate came from, to pay for those costs.
That's fine. The other question, you said there's a minimum use fee for people who use 10,000 gallons. Does that mean all residents are charged at the 10,000 gallon rate, and anything above that 10,000?
Yes.
Okay.
It's a good question. Because some people think, if I go over by 1 gallon, all of a sudden I'm in another rate category. No, it's over you charge the base, you know what I mean? Plus your use on top of it. Oh,
Yeah, I live in Hampton Manor, and I can't let a hearing like this go without saying you can't drink the water in Hampton Manor.
You said that 3 years ago, I remember that.
Yeah, and I'm going to say it every time. I have to dissent from the supervisor saying that when the surveys came back it meant people were happy.
You know what? We should do that again. We should do that again.
Wait, I think but my point is people didn't agree. I agree that people didn't want to pay to do a water district, but nobody's happy. Culligan makes their living in Hampton Manor. Everybody I know in Hampton Manor has some kind of adjunct water system. But my point is, as at a hearing like this, I just want to say it, to say that the price of water in Hampton Manor is going up. I understand all of the considerations, I understand all of the math, and I still say, really, the price of water in the price of undrinkable water in Hampton Manor is going up. I just have to put that on the public record because the water is undrinkable. You have to have filters in your washing machines. You have to have filters everywhere. It is a disaster. I love this town. I love Hampton Manor. I love where I live. But if there's one drawback, it's the water in Hampton Manor. So I just want to say that because.
Jack, we were just talking about, maybe conducting the survey again to get a more recent flavor for the sentiment on if people would be interested in dealing with the change in finances, if you will, of being put onto the the general water district,
Yeah.
and maybe throwing in throwing a survey into the next, billings and go out.
Yeah, I've encouraged that.
Yeah.
I encourage it.
You mentioned earlier that there was a reserve required in each water district.
I believe that's Jim's.
It's, not sure what he said, but
Reserve balance.
there's guidelines for fund balances. They don't require you to have one, but they don't want you to have too much of a balance either.
Is there any provisions that now that the money goes to the general account, that money's put aside for maintenance and repairs? And can you have a capital reserve for that, or
Yeah, you can.
is there one?
No.
Hank?
Are there any geological studies that are done that explore the possibility of things like, Skodak has a massive aquifer. Do they, is it possible?
That thing is available, you're right. The New York State Geologic Service has mapped and defined primary, secondary, principal aquifers in this state. Yes, and I think that we got to start there, Joe, and maybe spend a few bucks to do a little study to see if it's feasible.
I live in the northeastern section of town. We have no public water out there. Everybody's well up there is 10 and above.
Councilman.
I mean, it would seem to me that, there could be our own source of water, possibly somewhere.
I think we have a couple wells right now on Gilman, is it? We're across the DPW run. They were put in there. And years ago. And I guess they're good producers, but we just have to look into how many wells do we need? I think it's something we got to do.
I did have another question for you, I guess. We had talked about last year, or was it the year before, I can't remember which, Rensselaer, we carried the water for them. Are we billing them, or I can't remember if that was Troy that bills them directly?
Well, we both get the bill, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And the same bill, and we give them their share to pay, and we pay our share separate. Yes, we do pay separate.
Okay.
Yeah. They have meters for their measurement. We have new meters now, so I'm the guy that takes a look at the numbers.
Right, because I think wasn't it last year there was discrepancies between they said that their numbers were X and we said no, your numbers are Y,
Exactly.
and there was some kind of discrepancy about that. Has that situation been put to bed?
It's been
Or?
resolved now that we have our new meters now. Yep. But they do pay their bill separately. We don't pay the whole bill, and they pay us.
Well, Hank, that was an ongoing issue for years. Remember, they always had 60/40 and with new meters, everything is perfect.
It's still about 64.
Which is fine. I was just curious because I mean, with if Troy is raising our rates, I didn't know if we could add a surcharge onto them for carrying their water through our lines.
We're not, yeah, but we jointly own the pipe.
Oh, we jointly own the pipe.
Yes, we do. We own that pump station, we own the line, okay, and the tanks.
Okay, so
We're gonna own the tanks. That's why they owe us the $3 million. You see what I'm saying?
Oh,
So they own the pumping, distribution, and storage to get it to the town and the city of Monmouth. And then their use is beyond that, and they pay for what they use.
Okay, but for the storage tank, I mean, we're, as far as the lines and the station itself, we're at a 50-50 split with them?
Yeah,
So any of these costs that we're talking about for related to,
50-50.
it's 50-50s?
Yeah, you're bringing up something that we don't want to hear because somebody from the city restaurant brought it up and said, well, why don't we do 40%? Why don't we pay 40% of the capital cost? That was their argument. We said, that doesn't work. It's tank is a tank.
No, I agree with that. I mean,
So
I'm
we
talking about
passed
the water
that.
that goes out. Whatever they use, they use. But
That's
if they're
right.
going to be a part of the infrastructure,
Yep.
then it should be a 50-50 split on that.
That's right.
But so they still owe us $3 million. What do we have any type of?
We have an agreement, yep, we met with them in the past 6 months, and they're willing to pay us. They're going to pay us either on an annual basis until they get a grant or can bond their share of the money. And then just draft amendment to now. So it's close.
Now, we hate to be like, hey, but are we charging them interest on the 3 mil that they're not?
That's all part of the calculations.
It is part of the calculation, okay. Just making sure. Just thought I'd ask.
Yeah, no, good question. Because we took the bull by the horns and did all this. You know, we did.
Right, because in the flip side, if we don't do some of this stuff, they're gonna be crying poor if the water system breaks down, and it's gonna be all our fault.
Are we getting money from North Greenbush?
Yeah, we build more Greenbush. Yeah. We get probably every 6 months, $17,000, $18,000 on sale of water. But so does the city, we split that. And we bill them the city rate, which is higher than ours. Okay?
After all the rates are implemented on an annual basis, what would be, maybe Jim knows, the net cash annual increase
Not a lot.
in receipts?
This rate structure, this rate increase is probably only going to generate, I didn't do it for the commercial, forget the commercial, okay? They pay what they use. For the average, the income from the residential users for water is going to be about $110,000 more, and the sewer probably $118,000, so it's like $220,000, $30,000 more a year, okay? That's all. From the residential to the home. What's that? Thank you.
Thank
You can talk to
you.
me later.